Yo, Bachi 2007 back at you with another one. We've got another granny on Kendra G, and boy, it's a wild one because she's, but not in the sexual way like it usually is for the 304 grannies. But this one is just lost, and she doesn't know it. Let's get it started and get into it.
All right.
Hi, can you hear
I can
me?
I can see you, Miss Sherry.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can
Oh
hear you.
wow. Okay. Hi.
Is it Miss Sherry? You want me to call you Miss Sherry, Sherry, Sherry?
Yes. Okay. It's echoing.
Okay, can you give me good light? And I need you to stay situated, love.
No, Miss Sherry's fine. I'm going to where there's more light.
You're going to where there's more lights. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Of course, trust me. Once I sit, I'm good.
Once you say you're good,
Yeah.
you're good.
Once I sit, let me turn the other light on. But Sherry's fine. Sherry's fine.
Okay. You ready, Sherry? So I can start with you, baby.
Yes.
All right.
Sherry is fine.
Sherry, where you calling me from, Sherry? Stop moving, honey. Get situated, baby girl. We a live show.
I'm here, Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay, Memphis, Tennessee. How old are you?
Memphis, Tennessee.
I wanted you to see all of that preliminary to set the stage for how just wow, how just agitating she is. It's I'm Miss Sherry, Sherry, Sherry. That's not a name for somebody to call you. She just won't stop moving. This is just big. This is just the tip of the iceberg. All of the just kind of weirdness and can't hear and can't respond to a question and just moving around. And then she's sitting up here with a granny with this tank top on with her stomach out. Like your grandma would have never sat in front of people with her tire around her midsection just sitting out in public for people to see. I didn't want you to go. I didn't want you to get the feeling of all of what's going to come. These are just small signs, but again, this lady is another one who just doesn't know it's over for her before she even gets started. But let's listen some more.
I am 55 and a half.
Okay, 55 and a half. What's your zodiac sign?
I am a Sagittarius.
Sagittarius. You have any kids?
I do have children. I have three adults. I am a
How old are your
Sagittarius.
How old are your three adult children?
35 and a half, 37 and a half, and 39 and a half.
Sherry, you could just tell me to you.
35, 37, 39.
There you go. There you go, Sherry. What do you do for a living?
I drive tractor trailers.
Tractor trailers. So you're a truck
I'm a truck
driver.
driver.
Okay, truck driver.
Mhm.
All right. So we got Sherry, Memphis, Tennessee, 55, Sagittarius, mom to three adult children.
Mhm.
Drives trucks. Have you ever been married?
No,
No. Are all your kids by the same man?
no.
How
Two
many men?
donors, two donors, never married.
Two donors?
Two dads. I'm the only parent that stuck around. I'm the only one that took responsibility of it. I don't want to give credit to somebody that didn't stick around.
You ought to give credit to the fact that you busted it down three times for two different men with no commitment. How about giving yourself some credit for that? So, as the fellas over at Single by Choices would say, she 3 for 2. Three kids by two different daddies. It gets worse. There's going to be a greater point on that we're going to come to, but I wanted to make that point. So we got ourselves old baby mama with a masculine job. You know about these truck driver women. Comes on international internet TV, air quotes, with her stomach out like some young gal, even though she got a Michelin tire around her stomach, and this young girl's feminist signaling big hoop nose ring. Off top, just a bunch of foolishness. But she's a nice disposition. She seems like a nicer older lady. She's gonna tell us some stuff that you might would think in certain circumstances would make her a catch. But the way she presents it and the way she has gone about it in her life, it doesn't end up being the value that she thinks it is. Let's listen some more. But before we do that, we got to get likes, subscribe, and notification. This is very important. Hit the like button for your boy. And we right back to the program in a second. There you go. Let's get it started.
Oh, oh, oh. Okay, fair enough. All right, Sherry. So we got
Yes.
Sherry, Memphis, Tennessee, 55, Sagittarius, mom of three adult, children by two donors, never married, is a truck driver. What kind of man you looking for, Sherry?
Um, my situation is kind of different for me as far as I'm concerned. I have not been intimate with anybody. I'm at the 20-year mark.
Woo.
So 20-year mark, documented, medically documented. So I never married, and I focus more on
What medical documentation is there for you, whether you busted it down or not in 20 years? You can't medically know that. Ladies, again, she's all kind of nuts. Two donors. Two donors. I'm just telling you, it's all the tip of the iceberg. It keeps getting worse. Uh,
raising my kids and getting myself together. So now I'm ready. So as far as what kind of man, just somebody that's mature. I'm sort of considering marriage, but then I've never even been in a relationship, never had a boyfriend. So it's kind of difficult for me to kind of say,
sorry, we gotta stop. Had to stop it. She's at the 20-year mark and said it with pride. Excuse me. It's great to not be taking in all kinds of bodies, obviously. But to be completely out of relationship experience, not just for 20 years, she said she's never been in a relationship in her life. She's 55 years old with three kids. You've never even had the experience of trying to get along with the man. As soon as they hit it, they quit it and run. This was you 20 years ago when you're just hitting the wall, when you're just coming off of your peak, and you can't keep no man around to want to be with you. You now have no experience of dealing with men and engaging in relationship. And you think you can just show back up. You have no relationship experience. You have no sexual experience again. While low body count is a good thing, um, just getting busted down for children over and over again is not, and then having no sexual experience to bring to the game at this age. Men don't want to teach 55-year-olds. That might be cute with a young girl. It's not cute when you're old. Come on, lady. Let's get right back to it.
year mark.
Woo.
So 20-year mark, documented, medically documented.
Ran it back so we make sure we don't lose anything that we need to get.
And I focus more on raising my kids and getting myself together. So now I'm ready. So as far as what kind of man, just somebody that's mature. I'm sort of considering marriage, but then I've never even been in a relationship, never had a boyfriend. So it's kind of difficult for me to kind of say, I tell you what I do want. I want a man. I want a heterosexual man. It's beyond more than a beard. It's beyond more than muscles. A man. I'm not heterosexual. No games. No switching up. No trying to figure it out. A man. Period.
Okay. Couple questions. So, did you make a conscious decision 20 years ago? I guess you were 35 at the time to be celibate.
Hmm.
And was the goal marriage or what reason?
I'll tell you exactly what happened. For one, I don't have a high body count. The amount of time I was with my kids' dad is each. I've only been with one twice and one once. So I had
Y'all believe that foolishness? Do you believe that she only had sex 3 times in her life, and all 3 times she got pregnant? I might believe that if all 3 times happened when she was 16, 18, and 20. I might believe it. I really wouldn't. But I might. She had 2 kids with one guy, so she had sex with him one time, got pregnant. He was a bum who didn't stick around for his child. She said nobody stuck around. He was a bum who didn't stick around for his child. He, you had the child. Then you took him back, even though he was a bum who wasn't taking care of his child, had sex with him again, got pregnant immediately, had another child, and then went into celibacy for 20 years. Come on, y'all. And this didn't start till her late 20s into her mid 30s, when she even started to have sex, to have him have sex only 3 times. She's lying, or she's just crazy, or
My
both.
first grandbaby coming. I had my first grandbaby coming at that time. And even
You
though
had
I
your
never
first
had a
grandbaby at
boyfriend,
35?
yes. So what I'm about to say is that was enough for me to just decide I didn't want that. I didn't want to be putting myself out there. Yes, I had one at 35.
Okay. So how old was your child that had you made your grandmother at 35?
How old was my child?
I'm just trying to get the timeline together.
Wait, the timeline of my child or timeline of me?
Oh, okay, I see. You have a 35-year-old child. So you had a baby at 20.
No, you got it wrong. But I don't want to focus on that because that's them. You asked me what prompted me to wait the 20 years. It just happened to be end up 20 years. I'm at my 20-year mark. When I found out I was having a grandbaby, that's when I put off everybody. I focused on my kids, the grandbaby, and I just haven't been with anybody else since then. And I
Okay.
didn't miss anything.
I guess I got confused on that note a little bit too. Maybe she did have the kids at 17, 16, 18, 20, because she was having a grandbaby by the time she was 35. So yeah, she started early and then quit. And then think this is a thing to want somebody who has no experience for 20 years, and now they want you to come in with her gut out, and you're now supposed to train her on how to be in relationship and how to be a sexual woman to you. Okay. After menopause, great granny. Thanks.
Okay, so just for clarity, so you consciously decided not to date for the last 20 years.
I consciously, of course, consciously, no dates.
Okay, so what prompts you to say that you're ready now?
For one, after I've done the math, I didn't realize it had been at 20-year mark. So I don't know if you're hearing the echo. So if I'm seem to be repeating something, it's not deliberate. So what prompted me now was 20 years is a long time, but I made it. I survived it. I don't have any diseases, no drama. And one of the main things is I have a grandchild. I told them, the situation about me choosing to not have sex, no relationship, even though I've never been in a relationship. And for that child to be a teenager now, to tell me that they're motivated to wait until they're married. So, 20 years. And that child is almost 20 years old now. So a grandchild.
Okay. So now you're
So
ready. What are your deal
I'm
breakers
ready.
here? What are your deal
My
breakers?
deal breakers are I'm sort of leaning more towards marriage or long-term relationship. So the deal breakers are no premarital counseling, no premar a breaker has to be no premarital counseling, no background check. I don't want to date somebody or be with somebody that I can't verify who they are. No, no intense health exam, no health department visit. I'm going to want to have everything checked out because I don't want nobody's diseases. I'm not going to go 20 years plus with nobody, without being intimate. So I'm not a fan of being touched per se. So I want to make sure I'm safe. I want to make sure that the person I'll be with is safe. So it just has to be a healthier situation for me.
Okay. Sherry, I do want you to respond to this because if I make you a highlight, this definitely will be stated. So I'm gonna give you an opportunity to respond to it. Um, I think listen, it was your decision to take yourself off the dating market for 20 years.
I'm
And
proud of it.
okay, that's fine. No one's saying you shouldn't be. But one would say now you're 55 and now you're ready to date, and you're on record saying you've never actually even been in a relationship.
Hmm.
I don't play God, and I believe I'll never try to play God, but they're gonna say it's too late. They're gonna say things like you waited too long for you to be serious about a relationship when this is something that you should have been focusing on whatever the last 20 years. So I want you to at least to respond to that because that's definitely going to be stated.
Sure. Sure. I have a question for you. With me being new to this, I keep getting echo. Is it better if I take what is it called? The Bluetooth off? You think
If
that'll
you
work?
if you desire, I don't have the echo, so maybe it's the echo for you, but it's not an echo for
I'm
me.
going to try, okay?
Okay.
Because it's repeating everything. So, first thing, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I'd rather my situation be this than I've been out and about putting myself out there, putting myself in danger. I mean, we all see the news. We see the cases where there's abuse on both sides, male or female. So this has been a way of keeping myself safe, keeping my kids safe, and keeping my grandchildren safe. So once again, I have not missed out on anything. I'm healthy. All of my anatomy, as far as being a real woman, is functional. It's not infected. Hey, I'm good. It's been well worth it. It's been well worth it. So if somebody's thinking it's too late for me, that's their opinion. I'm not used up. I'm not out here putting myself out there in the streets. I don't hang out at the clubs. I don't have folks, in and out of my body. I'm good.
Okay.
So
Thank
that
you
if
for
that's their opinion, if they'd rather somebody that has more activity going on sexually, that's their choice. But I'm somebody who has not.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you for responding.
So I let it cook for a while. Now I'm going to jump in here with some notes I've been taking, so we wouldn't have to keep stopping, but we're going to get it all at one shot. But there was one thing I missed early on that I forgot about. Talking about I'm 55 and a half. I'm 30, my child 37 and a half and 35 and a half and whatever that. Looks like that. That's how 7-year-olds describe. I'm 7 and a half. I'm 8 and a half because you're little kids and a half a year is a really long time. The distinction between 7 and a half and I just turned 7 is kind of a distinction. There's no distinction between being 55 and 55 and a half, being 35 and 35 and a half. This just goes to her mentality, along with all those other little weird idiosyncrasies and her just kind of vacant vapidness, her just like childlike naivete at 55 years old and what she's bringing to the table and coming out to the sexual dating market to date a silver fox gentleman who's going to have to deal with this kind of childish personality. And that goes to my next point. She wants a man, I tell you. And a man wants a woman, not a granny with arrested development. And that's what I just pointed out with the 55 and a half and all that crap. She has arrested development. She has no relationship experience for a whole lifetime. She's over half a hundy with no relationship experience and hasn't had sexual experience in 2.5 decades, or over 2 decades. It just makes no sense. She wants to get married for what? To have a family and have legacy and build a legacy with the man? Lady, the ship is sailed. You're 55 with 3 kids. No man who's trying to have a family wants you or could have a family with you because you're 55. You're postmenopausal. There's just no point. Again, just doing stuff for no logical or adult reason. This doesn't work. So then you got to go get an STD panel and a polygraph test and a background check and a colonoscopy check and a cholesterol test. And she probably wants to test your inner ear for inner ear infection. Lady, stop. You're not the prize you think you are just because you're not ran through. You have the opposite problem. You're too old for your inexperience and arrested development. You're too much of a project. Old men don't want to raise an old woman. You want to give direction and guidance and mold a younger woman. An older man might want to deal with the 25 or 20-year-old that he gets to mold and guide her into her womanhood. She didn't have a father, whatever. She needs to be directed. That's cute when you're 22. That's horrendous when you're 55. Nobody wants that. And she doesn't get it because she has dysphoria about the sexual marketplace as an adult. Her womanhood rested. And then okay, being healthy with no disease and not used up again, very good. That's good stuff. But in the context, It doesn't bring value in your situation. It would be better if you had been in a relationship for the last 20 years. Not that you should be getting ran through by everybody the last 20 years, but you should have been with somebody as a grown woman from 35 to 55. One of your baby's daddies should have stuck around. The fact that no man wants to stick around you tells a man so much about you. The fact that you just bust it down for random men, and now then you went celibate. You went from one uh extreme end to the other, and that kind of extreme movement back and forth does not appeal to any man. No man wants to deal with you. You're going to be extreme. You're going to be extreme in your emotions. You got all these requests that you think you're in a position to request. You're a 55-year-old big gut granny with a hoop ring in your nose. It's not working, lady. You're not in a position to make kind of demands. You need to get in the pocket, but you don't understand the market because, again, you have arrested development. Let's pick it back up.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you for responding. Now we'll continue. So you gave me your deal breakers, correct?
Sure.
What
Yeah.
does the guy have to look a
Just
certain way?
uh, I gave you just a few of them, but that's a start. Uh, I'm only 4'11",
You're only four.
so I
Oh,
can't.
you're 4'11"? Okay.
I'm just barely 4'11", just barely.
Let's skip forward to Kendra Cam. Because this is a long one anyway. We can't sit here for all of it because with my commentary, this thing would end up being an hour. Kendra Cam, baby, let's get it.
Hey,
Full
let me see.
body.
Gotcha. I'm gonna try to.
Oh, we got a booty.
I don't know if you.
Okay. We see you. Okay.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
got you, Sherry girl. Okay. Whoop. We got you, mama. Okay.
All right, so she got the booty straight out of Mother Africa, and she got the stretch marks straight out of Granny Town. I don't know who really wants it. I mean, the big booty is nice, but again, the total package that it is attached to matters. And then, she's 4'11", so she's a stubby little thing, you know. But old Silver Fox player smack it up, no doubt. But again, you got to deal with her outside of that because now she wants relationship, and you got to deal with 55-year-old with 25-year-olds. I'm a feminist. I'm woman. Hear me roar. Nose ring on her nose, and this demonstrates the mentality. You're a big old granny out here, and you're adorning yourself like a child, like a strong, independent. I don't need no man child. Not appealing. Relationship dysphoria, grown woman arrested development. We keep seeing it again and again. Skipping forward, you're going to get more of the foolishness and agitating ways. This woman is really too much. And she's even going to be too much. The women always try to tell each other, you're not too much. You're just enough. You're going to see she ends up being too much for Kendra. Stick around to the end. Or if this is getting too long for you, go ahead and skip to the last couple minutes. You want to see how it ends.
Now you already told me because the next question is when was your last relationship, and you have never been in one.
I have honestly never been in a relationship. Oh,
What is all this? Lady, speak. Crazy, I'm telling you.
I have never been in a relationship.
So with your children's dads, they weren't relationships either.
Not enough. No,
Okay.
not. It was just something that happened growing up in the environment that I grew up in. I was way young, and it just was not the most positive environment. So I just decided that okay, I have my children. I'm not going to beg anybody to take care of their children. I'm not going to beg somebody to be a stepdaddy. So I actually raised my kids on my own. It wasn't easy, but I did it. I did it without stripping. I did it without drugs. I did it without being locked up. I did it without
Bam! She just took shot at you strippers. Bam! I agree with her on that. Take that shot.
committing a crime. I made it happen.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. We
I
already know
made
that
it
your last.
happen.
Okay. And we already know that your last time of intimacy was 20 years ago.
Yes.
Okay. 3 flaws you have to work on.
Okay. Oh, and you just real quick, I want to add real quick. One of the things I wanted to add on my list that's a deal breaker, not having a polygraph. So I'm actually okay with having a polygraph.
I told you about the polygraph. I watched this already. You got to get tested for everything. Ain't anybody taking no polygraph test for your old goofy self. You bringing no value to the market. Talking about somebody taking a polygraph. Girl, you better go somewhere.
Graph test to prove that or anything else. Because I do believe in a polygraph test. So I did want to add that.
Wait, hold on. So you want the man that you're gonna date to take a lie detector test?
That's a possibility, but I mean, as far as me,
Pippin for it. She's annoying.
Okay, so let me ask you this question again. So
sure.
is the requirement that a man that you're gonna date has to take a polygraph test, which is a lie detector test?
About some things, more than likely, yes.
Sherry, I don't believe, listen, I can never say anything absolute because
It's
I'm
going to
not
go
God.
both ways.
I understand. Let me just jump in with this. I'm not
Sure.
God, so I'll never pretend to be God, and I'm a believer. So I believe God can make anything happen. But Sherry, I think this is gonna be a miracle if you find a man to sign up for all this.
You know what? 55 years of living, I've seen what guys have picked. So I'm not concerned about that. I'm not concerned about, other choices that a guy can have. If it's not a situation for me, it's not a situation for me. As long as I'm healthy, happy, safe, and wholesome. That's my concern. So I want to put myself in a situation that's going to be healthy for me. I'm not trying to compete with anybody else. I'm not trying to meet, the status quo of society.
Fair enough. I do understand the concern. I understand what you're saying logically, but I think this is why dating at times, I'm not even saying dating with sex, you got to know how to cohabitate with another person. So it's almost like because you haven't dated in 20 years, you're looking at this as a business transaction than just a natural getting to know a person's transaction. Now, again, I'm not saying you just sleep with any good body. I'm in agreement that you just don't open your legs up for anybody, right? And I'm even in agreement if you like, let's make sure we're healthy. Let's take a STD test and all of that. But I think requiring a lie detector test, that might, you gotta, I don't know how many men gonna sign up for that.
Well, here's the thing. Everybody has what they want in a date, in a marriage, or whatever. I've been very observant all these years. I've been paying attention. So if somebody is more worried about that than being with a woman that's not argumentative, a woman that doesn't have a high body count, a woman that is honest and not being locked up, a woman that's not chosen to do trashy things to raise up the kids.
Damn, she taking more shots at you stupids and you whores out here. Granny got shot. She coming for y'all neck. Say, I ain't out here hoeing like these chicks. I ain't on OnlyFans. I ain't no sex worker. I'm pure. I just got bust down 3 times by 2 different men back in the day when 3 for 2. But after that, I've been pure for 2 decades. I done repurified. Y'all hoes busting it down for money. You selling that for some cash. And I ain't do all that, so I'm high value in her mind. She might that yes, those things would be high value traits if you then weren't crazy delusional and think somebody finna take a polygraph test just to get with your gender studies nose ring, your gut sticking out, and all this other foolishness you talking about. Nobody's doing all that, lady. Talking about getting married at 55 and for what? Let's go back to it. I'm gonna skip forward actually.
I didn't say that, but I don't understand why I'm being interrogated about my choices.
Well, you're not
I don't
necessarily
understand
being,
what.
well, hold on. I apologize if you feel like you're being interrogated. I'm not trying to interrogate you. I am trying to get clarity. And I also know my audience, and I know you said you don't know this show, but I know this show. And I know if I make you a highlight, and some of the things are already being said within the comments. But see, dating is almost like a sport. Imagine you haven't ridden a bike for 2 years, not even, I mean, 20 years. I'm not talking about the sex aspect. I'm just talking about cohabitating with another person because there's a lot of compromise. There's a lot of different things.
I
So
understand
yes,
all that. I
right.
understand all of that.
Right. So I think we listen, your decisions have been your decisions, but I do think the questions I'm asking are valid with you ready to enter the dating market again for being off of it for 20 years.
Well, part of the reason, one of the little snippets of why I was off the dating market is I'm aware. I see what goes on around me. I've been very observant of relationships in my own family, in my community.
Lady, you ain't aware. You're painfully unaware, and that's the problem. And you don't understand how unaware you are. And this is one of the times that me and Kendra are on the same page where she's trying to tell you, make you to understand. She said on part of the part I skipped, Kendra said, it's not either you're celibate for 20 years or you're a hoe. There's a lot of in between. And that's what this lady doesn't get. She thinks just because she was celibate for 20 years and she doesn't have a high body count, again, which is a good thing, but you having zero relationship experience for 20 years is a bad thing. Having zero relationship experience for your whole life and then not even engaging with men at all for another 20 years is not good. You don't understand the give and take between men and women. Otherwise, you wouldn't come on here with your lack of value demanding all the crap you're demanding for a man just to show up and want to give you all of his internal personal information and take tests for you to prove to you what? Why does somebody got to prove to you that if you don't believe that I'm telling the truth and you can't engage with me to figure out whether I'm an honest and real person, authentic person from that, and you want to go to doing pseudoscience polygraph test, lady, I'm not stopping to do that for you. You're out your mind. So we're gonna skip forward some more to the chat questions. You guys can actually go back and watch if you really want to be a glutton for punishment. There's like another 10, 15 minutes I'm about to skip before we even get to this ending part. It's a lot.
I don't think it went through. It wouldn't go through.
Okay, well, Sherry, I'm quite sure is taken. We have usernames now. So do you want to be Miss Sherry and make that your username so the guy can find you that is willing to rise to the occasion for all your requirements?
Kendra being petty now for all your requirements. You too much even for arch feminist Kendra G. That's a problem. She thinks your requirements are ridiculous. If she thinks your requirements are ridiculous, they're really ridiculous.
I can find you that is willing to rise to the occasion for all your requirements.
Miss Sherry will do just fine.
You want to do Miss Three Sherrys.
Miss Sherry will do just fine.
Okay, so that would be her username. So when you get to the app, download the app, Kendra G Singles. What kind
Mhm.
of phone do you have?
It's an Android.
Android. Okay, so go to the Google Play Store, type in Kendra G Singles, create your profile. There's going to be a username section right by your name, and put in
Hmm.
Miss Sherry, and that's how the guy who is willing to take a polygraph test and more can reach you.
So just to let you know, I did try quite a few times, but when I get to the part of the distance, it would boot me out. So I've done it about 4 times, but it just never let me go past that.
Okay, well the app has been updated. So that problem should be fixed, but you can set up a profile.
Okay. I have a question for you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, we're done.
Okay.
But what's your question, honey?
I just want to ask you, I'm pretty good at reading body language and the tone of voice and that. You just seem to be irritated with me with my choices. I thought I'd do your show because it would be an open platform for me to take these steps.
Well, let me say this. I don't want to use the word irritation. And this is why I said a couple of times. And I did jump in and tell you what I believe a lot of people will say in the comment section.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, and I always try to say this first because I'm not God. So I can never say anything for absolutes. But I do feel like you have a lot of unrealistic expectations when it comes to dating. And it sounds like you're very fearful to align with somebody else, which is understandable, but I think that fear is going to keep you in the dynamic that you've been in for the last 20 years. I think your life experience is speaking to you out loud of why you have not been able to align with somebody in the last 20 years. And I'm not going to use the word wasted because you have every right to use the years that you want to use them the way you want to use them. But now you're telling us at 55 and a half, you're ready to get married and you're ready for the dating game. But I think there's a lot of things at your age you just are not aware of when it comes to dating in the opposite sex. Now, again, I'm not God, so I can't say anything is impossible, but I think you might be an impossible case.
Wait, I've watched your show quite a bit, so I've seen some of the people that come on here, and I've never seen. I mean, I'm talking about some serious shenanigans, and I've never seen or heard them get this kind of pushback from you,
Well, first of
just
all,
because
you
I'm choosing to
asked,
keep myself
listen, no,
healthy.
I was, well, let's just be clear. I wasn't, you asked for this information. I was ready to end the live. There's probably a lot of times I have these thoughts that I never share because, again, you're here to find someone. The only reason why I'm sharing with you my thoughts is because you directly asked me. I was ready to end the live after we got to the part of when you said what your name was on Instagram. So if you're asking me what you felt, and I probably felt it with several other guests who did not
Mhm.
ask like you asked, so I never shared.
Okay.
Damn.
Okay.
She just about said, okay. Her feelings was really hurt. She thought she was going to come out here and she thought she had just purified herself in the baptismal waters of 20 years of celibacy. It don't work like that, lady. People ain't for this foolishness. Nobody's trying to get with this. You're a little odd. You're a nice lady, I see, for the most part. Of course, she's got a bit of that attitude there. She was kind of snippy and stuff. She doesn't like to be she doesn't like to be given any information. So she's the type who's not going to listen. Like you tell her something she doesn't like, she's not trying to hear it. She was getting good information from somebody who's very experienced in the dating market. Kendra got plenty of experience. She's trying to give you some information, some heads up. She's not that much younger than you, right? She's in her mid 40s, and you're not trying to hear it. And that's a problem. That's all the more reason why a man doesn't want to deal with you. You have not been under a man's direction for your entire life. We can tell you didn't grow up with no daddy. That's why you're out there busting it wide open, getting pregnant from the get go, and just would nug nug and he run off and leave you. So you've never been under a man's direction in your life. Now I'm supposed to come into your life and believe you're not going to be combative and you're going to take direction from me after I take a polygraph test, which I'm not going to take to begin with. So that's your problem there, lady, if you happen to catch this video, and that's what it is. You're going to have to change your approach or just stay celibate for the rest of your life at this point. You kind of chose a path. You're not wanting to hear how re-entering the dating market works or how the dating market works, so you can re-enter it. If you just want to do your own thing and don't want to hear anything from anybody, just stay by yourself and do your own thing. That's it. Your Botcha 2007. That's it for me, but it's not it for you if you haven't liked, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. So go ahead and subscribe up. Make sure you get the notifications to come back for more. Like me up on your way out. Your Botcha 2007. Peace.